Hello and a warm welcome again to the 2022 ET Auto EV Conclave. After some very enriching, informative and interesting discussions on various aspects of the EV industry or various segments, namely two-wheelers, passenger vehicles, now it's time to take a stock of the electrification megatrend in the CV sector. And in this panel discussion, under the theme of CVs, are they delivering the goods for EV adoption? We will have a very fruitful discussion, I'm sure, with esteemed panelists as Suman Mishra, CEO, Mahindra Electric, Uday Narang, founder and chairman of Omega Seiki Mobility, and industry veteran, Dr. Seshu Bhagavathula, who now wears the hat of director at Volta Trucks. He's based out of Germany. And so without further ado, let me just start the discussion with first bringing in Suman here and to understand what is the market status of EVs, especially in the last mile delivery segment. I mean, in other words, the three-wheeler segment, as we all know, especially in India, the largest market for two and three-wheelers globally. This segment kind of presents itself as a big opportunity for mass-scale electrification. So, Suman, tell us what's the market status and how is it evolving?
Yeah. So, India, the electrification is really starting in the three-wheeler space and also then followed by the two-wheeler, and then the other segments come behind. Today, I think if my numbers are right, it's around 10% electrified already in the three-wheeler segment. And while there are numerous estimates, I think it is at its inflection point now, and we expect it to be at least 30-40% by F25 and maybe even 60-70 by 30. There is always this little segment for the heavy usages, which maybe Uday can tell you more about, where there are some applications which may still prefer a CNG type fuel type. But apart from that, the product fitment and adoption should be upward of 60-70% in the next 7-8 years. And the key reason for it is this is a very value conscious segment. And as long as you can meet the total cost of ownership, which is aided significantly by the fuel price escalation and the benefits that the EVs offer, right? The low maintenance, the ease of driving, all this, the good environmental footprint, but also higher earnings for our customers. Because of its largely total cost ownership oriented nature, the adoption is very fast. We do have to educate and embrace the retail customer, provide a lot more of the financing and so on. But overall, the trend is extremely positive. I think it was 1% last year, it's 10% now. The particular big driver is cargo, e-cargos, which, as you know, e-commerce companies have embraced in a very large way. There are a lot of these logistics players who are having completely electrified fleet for the first and last mile deliveries. And this itself is really increasing the growth of this last mile delivery. We can talk about policies and such maybe later.
All right. And also, let me shift to the global stage and to get a perspective from Dr. Seshu on the other end of the CV spectrum. Where do things stand? And especially, let's say, in matured markets like Germany, France, UK. So what is the trend like there? What's the status there? And when it comes to India, what kind of evolution do you expect in the CV sector?
Yeah, thank you, Sumatra. I will start with India seems to basically, more or less look towards Europe when it comes to technology and market development. There seems to be some kind of a lag, maybe 2 to 3 years of lag. In some cases, you remember Euro 4, Euro 6, the gap was the lag was much longer. But when it comes to electrification, I think this lag should be much shorter. And so it looks as though that what happens today in Europe will happen in 2 to 3 years down the line in India. That's been normally the case, although there are certain segments that don't exist in this part of the world, like the two-wheelers and three-wheelers, like the way in India you see. So they probably should be taking first time ever in India a different development altogether, driven by the cost conscious, as Suman says, the cost conscious 2, 3-wheelers, and even the last first mile that includes even 2-ton, 3-ton light commercial vehicles, and so that's in Europe. In Europe, in India we also have this intermediate commercial vehicles. So the ICVs, there is no ICV as such in Europe, but then electrification has started in this ICV segment in Europe, which is, let's say, 7.5 ton to maybe 15, 17, 18 ton, GVW category. And the reason is, there are different reasons here, by the way. Electricity in Europe is very expensive. India probably is the cheapest country in the world, with just 5 rupees a kilowatt hour. This is like almost given free of charge. In Germany, we pay 21 euro cent per kilowatt hour. So, and in spite of the fact that it is more expensive in Europe, you still see actually it's, the electrification picking up. One of the reasons is, the consciousness of these countries to become sustainable in their overall outlook. That includes government, includes public companies, private companies, including naturally e-commerce, logistics, and all the others. Now, there's a pressure on the business to go green, so to say. And this pressure is the one that's actually pushing the electrification in this part of the world. Over the time, as you see now, there is every once in a while, mankind probably changes when events like what we are seeing right now in eastern part of Europe happening. The energy crisis is looming just around the corner. And
yeah,
I can tell you.
In fact, Dr. Seshu, that's where I was also thinking now. I mean, since you're sitting there in Germany, and in such in the current, we are witnessing the situation that's taking place in Ukraine. Do you think what kind of a fallout or impact do you think it may have on the transportation sector, especially on let's say specific to the electrification?
Yeah, I failed to actually probably even to express properly in the language, but I can tell you, 3 weeks ago, this country, Germany, and what it is today is so much of difference that I can't even make out anymore this country. You can probably say Germany before, Germany after. There's so much of change. Things that they thought were untouchable, it was part of their core fabric of beliefs, they all have changed. Now, in fact, within 6 months, Germany has to find alternatives to the gas and oil that they get from Eastern Europe. And I'm talking about Eastern Europe, the extreme east part of, seen from here. But that means there are discussions in this part of the world, including European Union. You must have heard them as well. Is how fast now can they change? Now they say that they probably have to take so much of money into their hands to accelerate the electric, this green energy so much that it is possible that they will get there. After COP26, they had certain goals defined, change from the Paris, and now they're changing as well for the better. Naturally, there will be so much of acceleration. I can tell you, we hear only 2 things in this country today. One of them is energy, sustainability, and war. That's it.
Okay, I mean, good that the acceleration is happening, acceleration towards green mobility, green transportation happening. Just that the reason is unfortunate in this case. Uday, coming to you, you have already made some moves in the market with your electric 3-wheelers, and you have from what I understand, you've got some very ambitious plans. And of course, I still remember your statement that Omega Seiki Mobility will be the Tesla among in the commercial vehicle segment. That's your stated vision. So where do things stand there? And what have been our key, let's say, key learnings? Because you have seen many foreign markets as well, and you have in various roles, you have operated in them. So what prospects do you see? What plans do you have? And currently, what are the key takeaways in the electrified commercial vehicle segment that Omega Seiki has so far operated in?
Thank you. It was great to hear, Doctor, and obviously Sumanji is always a pleasure to read and understand. Look, I'm an optimist, and I always look at things half full. I never look. I've been around. Maybe I'm not as experienced as the doctor, but I was a hedge fund manager. I've seen wars. I've seen the Iraqi war. I've seen Gulf War. I've seen all of these happening. And the only thing I can tell you is, in my life, is time and patience. And you take time and patience, everything sorts out. Right now, we've got to figure out. I think the European situation is a crisis, but we've got to have cooler minds have to prevail. I mean, Germany made a decision to move out of nuclear power, and it's like saying getting out of the fire into the frying pan. And there's a whole lot of decisions that they've made. And I used to be a very significant player in the German electricity market, so I understand that country pretty well. But let me come back to it. As Sumanji said, look, for me, people say electric is the future. I'm saying electric is now. It's the present. Green and blue energy, green energy and hydrogen is the future. I am seeing, I spend a lot of times crisscrossing this country, Africa, GCC, ASEAN. The green energy and sustainability mantra is everywhere. Let me come back to India because this is more relevant here in this conversation. I am seeing demand go just ballistic in the cargo sector. For me, Mahindra, Piaggio, and all the others, they're not competitors. They are family. Everyone should come in, grow the ecosystem, build the ecosystem. We're not competitors. For me, the best part of this journey is that the charging, the infrastructure, the vehicles, 3-wheelers, 2-wheelers, the more people that join this journey. It's like that movie Forrest Gump. I don't know, you guys might be young, but when Tom Hanks was running by himself and then everybody starts running. I am like that, right? I'm going to run in Liverpool. I'm a big football man, and they say we will never walk alone. But for me, if I have to walk alone on this journey, I will walk alone, because green energy and sustainability is the way we're going to sort out this country. Now, I don't think if I start talking in the cargo space of green energy and sustainability and the environment, nobody cares. What they care about is, and Doctor, I don't know if you understand Hindi or not, meri jeb mein kya aaya, meaning what did I save? That is the only thing that matters here. So coming up with products, coming out with, building the ecosystem, making sure in an environment where there's $140 oil, I don't need to sell electric. Electric is going to sell itself. Specifically, right. I am seeing a huge influx of demand, as Sumanji said, in the logistics sector. And for me, whether it is Mahindra, or whether it is OSM, or whether it's Piaggio, or whoever, if every vehicle is electric, that makes me happy, right? Because at the current rate and where the geopolitical situation with oil, we are burning huge amount of money in terms of our foreign reserves in buying oil. We are the 3rd largest consumer of oil in the world now. So electrification is important. So 3-wheelers, we are working in the cargo. I am going to do a bit on the passenger side. I'm going to come up with some to help with the ecosystem to make more product available. I am coming up with trucks on the 1.5, 3.5, 6.5, and up to 50 tonners. Now I think that the main sweet spot in India specifically is that 1 to 1.5 tonner, which is the Tata Ace equivalent.
Yes.
Pricing is Indians are the most price sensitive people in the world. We've got to come up with products that can make price effective. Now, obviously, if we can come battery on lease, we can come up on products where we can find ways, because over a period of time, electric vehicles make sales, and trucks specifically. And this is something that I will work very much over the next year or two on, not only just in India, but globally. I have just signed up with GCC to put trucks, but India is very important. But I think, as Sumanji said, CNG, Sumanji, as you know, is now even more expensive than diesel. So,
Right.
so I don't know what people are talking about CNG. That game is over too. The game is electric. Make more vehicles, put better products, control the supply chains. Extremely important. We can all talk about that. Supply chain, supply chain, supply chain. Powertrain, batteries, motors. We've got to, as a community, work on that and build. And the more people that join us on this journey, the better it is.
It's still a case of the more the merrier when it comes to the EV industry, be it passenger vehicles, commercial vehicles, any sector, so any segment. So it's still there are no competitors, as you said. It's still the more the merrier.
Build Rome and they will come. And I think
Yes.
build electric and they will come.
Indeed.
And that is the approach that I take. And I think Sumanji and all the other players that are here, which is exciting. I think in the automotive industry, we've been in the automotive industry ourselves for 52 years. This is the most exciting time and the change is coming. And I keep saying in my last word here, change with the time or time will change you. And that's what's happening.
Indeed, change with the time or time will change you. And talking about the change that's happening, someone from what you shared, 1% last year, 10% of three-wheeler volumes electrified today. It's actually is in line with what the theme of the session is, delivering the goods for EV adoption, and three-wheeler is literally doing that in terms of not only literally delivering the goods, but also delivering the goods for EV adoption in India. Tell us a little bit about Mahindra Electric has revised its overall business roadmap, and you have also made, this was some time ago, we made an announcement about investment in having an EV R&D hub in Bengaluru. So tell us now in this reworked plan, how big a chunk or what kind of focus is the CV segment offering? Because I understand you are also having, well, it's not under kind of your business area, but there is now a Born Electric platform, which is also coming up. But in the overall scheme of things, in the rework plan, how much of focus is there on CVs?
In a nutshell, if I had to summarize the rework plan, it is to bring in much more focus and agility. So that is why the divisions have been changed to bring them much closer between the R&D and the sales functions so that they can operate under one umbrella. The investment numbers, as you know, is 3,000 crores that we have announced. It is across all the segments. The Bengaluru EV, we are also upgrading our spaces. It's not just my office, but we are upgrading the R&D facilities in Bangalore. We have the EV COEs for the battery and embedded systems, which are based in Bangalore. They're also moving to some better facilities. And as you know, we have done considerable, and this is the broader, we are doing considerable investment in the US and in MRV Chennai, and we have the design center in UK. So all in all, I would say the 3,000 crore was just the first tranche of investment. It's not predetermined that it would go X here and Y here. It's like a as-need basis. The faster you grow, the more chances you will get more of that money.
More that share.
And there is a lot more money available to come. So capital is, as you know, is not much of a constraint for us here, but we are really accelerating across all the dimensions, and that includes CVs as well.
Right. And under the rework plan, again, there are two broad kind of areas under Mahindra Electric, as I understand. One of them is the last mile mobility or last mile delivery. On the mobility side, now we are the atom which you have showcased, the concept which you have showcased, which I believe is a fairly advanced stage. So I mean, is that a product which will kind of perhaps create a segment or a segment of its own, and also will have both personal and commercial application?
I'm just going to repeat what Uday said, build it and they will come. Let me launch it and we'll just figure out what is its niche and what all the applications are. There is a wide range of applications, as you can imagine, for such a product. Once we launch it in the market, we'll evolve it. I think at the moment, I'm not saying yes to this and no to that, because let's make this product launch, and then we can determine where it attracts critical mass. We should see the launch this year.
This year. Yeah, that's what I was coming to. How far are we from the launch?
I know I have answered this question 20 times already. It's going to come this year. I'll make
Right.
sure of that now.
Maybe, maybe thought I could take a chance to get a more specific date, maybe. Okay, anyway. Dr. Seshu, it's all 2022 is also a very key year for Volta Trucks. You are going to launch your maiden product in the market. So tell us a little bit more about it, and where does India stand? Because like the electrification megatrend, all EVs are more or less, maybe barring a few, almost all of them are looking at the globe as a market. So for Volta Trucks, what is your outlook and what's your plan for the Indian commercial vehicle segment? And could you throw some light on that, please?
Yep. We remember we spoke last time. We started with 16-ton truck, and meanwhile we've actually expanded the product categories to 7.5 and 12-ton as well. So 7.5 ton, we're actually working with a big e-commerce company, name unfortunately not allowed to say, but a big one. It's a very special vehicle, 7.5 ton truck, and they also naturally want a 12 ton as well. So you see actually it's no more just a one truck company. It's now more or less a family of trucks. So spanning all the way from 16, it will go to 18 as well. So there are certain markets, because if you want to go to United States, you can't just take a 16-ton from Europe and put it there. So the GVW categories and certification rules are a little different. So you adjust your GVW based on where you're going. Now, with the market is picking up so fast, that's unbelievable. I mean, if you look at as a startup company, otherwise, where we started in 2020 and a real work, today we have a pipeline of sales of 1.3 billion euro. This is and some of them are naturally official, like DB Schenker, 1,500 trucks. It has never actually happened in the history of Europe. One single contract of 1,500 trucks, that's about worth 430 million euro of value. And you look at the Petit Forestier, the French air-conditioned transport company that transports medical, everything that's air-conditioned. The order is about 1,000 trucks. So, these are just two examples of what the market is pulling us to get into stuff. So just to tell you, so we've got the 16-ton, there will be an 18-ton one day, but we're already on to 7.5 ton and 12 ton as well in the GVW category. And, we make the trucks in XMAN factory in Austria. It's a town called Steyr. Steyr is one of the famous names, like Magna, Steyr, Porsche, Daimler, and these are like 120 years old companies. One of the first trucks in the world was built in Austria, and so, unfortunately for us, MAN has just left this campus. They've gone to Poland, so this campus became free. So we suddenly managed to get a company that made trucks for 100 years waiting for us, so to say. And so we have now a contract with them. It's a contract manufacturing site, and we're transferring the development knowledge into production knowledge to them. The teams are working right now. So our first pre-production trucks will come out by end of this year, and we will actually have 3 months of customer tests, so to say. The final feedbacks will come into the product, after which the production will start. So you're seeing somewhere around the first quarter of next year is the start of production. And you can imagine we just finished Series C. We managed to get 230 million euro in the Series C. We just closed it 2 weeks ago. So the Series C money will help us to actually get to the production. That means we probably will not require any more capital to become operational. So depending on market developments and strategy inside the company, we will check what to do with the next series of funding. There can be other ideas as well. So this could be IPO and the bridge rounds and all possible. Just to get back to your question, it's the European market and United States. These are the number 1 and 2 markets for Volta trucks. And you can imagine as a startup company that's growing like, today we are 380 people. We just started 19 months ago with 10 people, and we're growing so fast. So you can imagine there's so much you can do. And the Western market is pulling us so much. I guess for the next round, India may not appear as a market. As you know, my two colleagues said it's such a cost-conscious market. You're required to look at every cent now, or every paise in India. And it's difficult. It requires only matured companies can compete in India, in the sense, you have to reduce the bill of material by every cent to be competitive. And I remember when I was in my previous assignment in India, we lost sometimes big contracts for just and at a 35 lakh rupees of per vehicle contract, sale price, we lost contracts for time difference, cost difference of 5,000 rupees per truck.
Oh,
now
okay, that's smaller margin.
That's small margin, so and Indian customers, they're so cost conscious that they buy 3 trucks from each one of the top guys, and after 1 month they get back and say, you're getting actually your diesel consumption is worse than the other one, so I want to give you the truck back, or so they're so cost conscious that it's very, very difficult to survive. So for Volta, I can tell you, Indian market is big. It's going to be fantastic, but it will have to. It will require that we become a mature company. You have to fine tune your bill of material, every piece of it, and the local content has to be very high in India. Very well. Right now, so local content is not yet possible. At the level that we want.
Okay, let me get in Uday here. Uday, you were what Dr. Seshu was mentioning, was stating his experience of during his earlier role in India. What he's sharing perhaps would serve as inputs for your business strategy, considering that you are planning to move up the tonnage segment in terms of offering EVs in the various tonnage segments of the Indian, very highly competitive and price sensitive Indian market.
So you're absolutely, when the doctor was talking about Austrian factories, I was really getting scared about the wages. And yes, if I were to tell anybody in India that I'm bringing a 225,000 euro truck, I think they wouldn't even meet me. They would just kick me out the door. I think, doctor, this is a price sensitive market. Yes. Everybody tells me, well, a Tata Ace only costs, a 1-tonner only costs 6-7 lakhs rupees. So that's not even, $10,000, right? So the key part is to come up with products that can, give a competition to the IC engine that makes sense, whether it is batteries on lease. How do we work? So we are working clearly on a model where our trucks are going to be priced at much more lower range. Now, obviously, they're not going to provide airbags, and it's not going to provide the European level or the American level of, safety. It's just not possible. You cannot give a Ferrari or a Lamborghini at the price of a Fiat. It just doesn't work that way. And obviously, electrics have, batteries and powertrains and technology. So we are working really hard, and I think we'll be able to show you some things in a very short order. In the 1 ton, the 1.5 ton, the 3.5, the 6.5, and other tons. I already have got them working in certain parts of the world where they have done very well. Now, Indian roads are very different. And the driver pattern, the driver patterns here are very different compared to Europe, America, and even the Far East. So I am working on my trucks here. I'm working on my trucks in GCC. I'm working for something in Africa. And yes, pricing. I got to continually weigh, I've lost half my hair trying to pull out these prices down. So in India, but herein lies the challenge. But I think the opportunity is big, and we at OSM are working in a major way to bring, trucks in a very short order. And hopefully, Sumanji, as well as I would love to see the doctor give me inputs. I can learn from them, but it's something that I'm working on. It's very close. I would say in a very near future at a theater near you, we'll be showing you trucks.
So when you say very near future, can you would like to quantify the period?
Yes,
and
in the next 2 to 3 months. In next 2 to 3 months.
Right, and you're saying that it will be simultaneously introduced in multiple markets, or like India first and after a couple of years later in other markets?
No, it's going to be working in multiple markets at the same time.
I see. Okay. Talking about electric trucks, Dr. Seshu, I mean, one viewpoint, the more common viewpoint is that when it comes to heavier trucks, it's hydrogen fuel cell technology, which is more viable compared to pure battery electric. But at the same time, we saw, I mean, not so recent, but maybe a year or so ago, we saw someone like Daimler, for example, coming up with a Actros with a BEV, that size of truck. So do you think perhaps the technology or some kind of technological development is perhaps would make it viable for even heavier trucks to have both hydrogen fuel cell technology as well as battery electric?
Yeah, I will keep it short. By the way, you have to make hydrogen somewhere. You have to do the electrolysis on site, and you have to keep it you have to keep it in such a pressure, bar maybe 600 and beyond bars. That's not easy. Hydrogen is not easy to handle, and it's the lightest material on the earth, in the universe, and to keep it at the pressure is not easy. So and a battery can just be in there and you can charge it. So once the battery technology improves, where the charging times go down and the density goes up, which is what is happening right now, and the price naturally coming down to $100 a kilowatt hour, the magic number, it's over for hydrogen even for heavy duty trucks. But it doesn't mean that hydrogen is gone, by the way. I'm talking about for transportation of road transportation. I think there is no way that one can replace the batteries. But there's a bigger transportation. We're looking at trains, we're looking at ships, we're looking at boats, and everything else. And people call hydrogen economy. You make the hydrogen, you transport the hydrogen using hydrogen, and you take it anywhere you require. Hydrogen doesn't require you transport it. It's there. You transport hydrogen using hydrogen. And you generate hydrogen using hydrogen. It's a hydrogen economy. That's a different thing. So hydrogen has a place. But for surface transportation, I don't think we already can see, as you said, Actros is just seen Actros here next door, running very, very well. It's just a matter of right now, the Actros cannot be used for long haul, 300, 400 kilometers and then come back same day or next day. But, who thought 3 years ago, who on the earth thought that 3 years ago that we could use such a thing, and today it's possible. So it's a matter of 2 to 3 more years. It's a charging time that's a problem today, and so charging time, density, they're all going to improve over the time. So my bet is, well, it's not a bet any longer, but my suggestion is, my observation is, for surface transport, hydrogen has very less chance.
And I absolutely, as there's technology advancement, energy density goes up, the material cost, battery cost comes down. So you will have more compact, lighter, and therefore less expensive, and also less expensive battery packs, which will make it viable for even heavier trucks to go the battery electric vehicle technology way. Suman, EVs, when any discussion about EV is incomplete without talking about the overall ecosystem, and which is what is very crucial, especially when the industry, and in varying degrees, of course, globally, is again on a learning curve. It's there's hardly not major kind of a difference in terms of capabilities across at least the major markets. When it comes to India, when it comes to the EV ecosystem in India, where do we stand now, according to you? And do you think there are some gaps still that need to be filled, and filled perhaps urgently?
Yes, I think there are some gaps, because as you said, it's in the evolutionary phase. Let me start with what is working. Right? What is working is this very fantastic FAME subsidy incentive scheme that the government has given to create consumer demand. What is going to work very well is the ACC PLI and the ACC, and the PLI for auto. which are going to totally encourage localization and the supply chain. So the gap is well recognized. There is a big gap in terms of the localization of the supply chain. We have complete dependence on the cells and semiconductors from outside. Maybe we won't be able to solve all of it, but some of it should be able to come to India. The second area is the financing. While this time they did say priority sector lending, I mean, it's yet to see, right? The DPs and the interest rates are so high that this customer cannot actually afford the DP. So there has to be some concentrated effort on improving the financing availability for especially this three-wheeler, four-wheeler, the commercial vehicle customer. It's already price conscious, but that is also driven by the fact that they don't have that much money to pay the down payment. So if you don't give some kind of, I don't want to say subsidize, but some better interest rates for these, even though they see the life cycle value, they're unable to switch. So this is a big area that we need to do. And the third, which we often talk about, is charging infrastructure. My view here is this is evolving. The vehicles will get more and more range. Swappable is coming into the market. Fast charging is coming into the market. So all together, cumulatively, we will solve the problem. The conventional thinking might be, where is the land to put all these chargers in the petrol pump? And I think all that is just, pretty conventional thinking. The solution will be driven by, do I give enough of a range to my customer so he can just charge at night and forget about it for his use case? Or the second, if he wants to do some short-term charging, can he get access to a fast charger? Or if it's a very cluttered, highly dense area, can he get a swappable system so that A, it solves the down payment problem, but B, it also helps you just do it in 2 minutes, in and out, and you're out, right?
Yes,
So
do the refueling in as long a time as it takes for, let's say, a fossil fuel vehicle, or if not lesser.
Yeah, these are the solutions that will fix the ecosystem. Of course, there is the other fourth one, which is the residual value of the vehicle. This will be established over time because it is the residual value of the vehicle. So that will happen as the vehicles continue to be more and more on the road, and over the next few years, we should see the establishment of that value.
Uday, since we are talking technology and technology in the CV space, your portfolio, would you offer a bouquet of technologies in, like, for example, let's say fixed battery, swappable, and things like that, or how is it?
Yeah, we're already doing this. I think Sumanji knows I have got fast charging. I've got a product out there. Sumanji, we're giving 6-year warranty with a 15,000 cycle with a 1 year. I mean, we're giving everything. Doctor, if I gave you the price, again, you would say, how do you do this in Europe? But we've aligned with Sun on swap already. We've aligned on fast charging. We're doing fixed. I'm going to come up with even quicker fast charging. So I think, as we say in England, different horses for different courses. I'm going to bring every horse out there. I keep saying, I think India is not only just price sensitive. India is not just about the fine. Sumanji has raised a real important. People want low price. People want financing. People want choice. This is in our DNA. Indians like to negotiate on everything. There is no Turkish bazaar here. Everything is a bazaar here, right? So the point is that, yes, we are going to use every technology. I'm a disruptor. So how do I bring disruption? I keep bringing technology to disrupt.
Well, Uday, talking about this, being a disruptor, talking about being, addressing the needs of the price competitive market. Let's say the truck, which is, let's say, a couple of months away. How will it compete? Let's say if I were a prospective, let's say, Tata Ace customer, that segment. So how competitive will it be?
I have to. It's not the question of how competitive will it be. I have to make it competitive. And believe you me, the price is not $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 or euros. I don't even want to go there. I think the price has to be maximum for the one. I'm again going to say the sweet spot in India is that 1.5 to 2 ton sweet spot. You can get the bigger trucks, but I think that one cannot be more than, in my humble opinion, and I know we've got much more smarter people on this panel here, cannot be more than 10 to 12,000 euros. It cannot. It has to be competitive. And I know, Doctor, you might think, God, what kind of products are these that they can come when you've got a $225,000 truck. I'd love to drive your truck one day. But the point is that I think you have to come out where that truck pricing may be a bit higher, but with that fuel cost or with the financing cost. And I think where the trucks will work in India, in my opinion, is that we will lease them. And if you lease them over a period of time, that payment of monthly payment, because the fixed payment, nobody can do. I just don't think. So it's a combination of, you've got to be creative. You've got to bring, I was a hedge fund manager before for 30 years. You've got to come up with a financing package. You've got to come up with a technology oriented product. And then you've got to look at the customers. You've got to give that whole, package together to a customer than to be an OEM. This is my price, buy the truck and it's your responsibility. I don't think that will work in India. That's my
different ownership models are also emerging along with the electrification megatrend. Suman, when can we expect some kind of electric SCVs from your stable?
It's in the works. That's all I can tell you right now. It's a segment that nobody can ignore. I think Uday pointed out quite clearly. It's a segment that nobody can ignore. Every large OEM is working on it. Let's see when we launch it.
Suman, there's just one thing, Suman. I'll bring it. I'll disrupt it. It'll force every one of your R&D guys and girls. It will force all the big boys and the girls, and they'll bring it. So you know what? This is what the fun of all of this is. That whoever takes the lead, then everybody else just says, I'm going to beat him. And that's what I love about this game.
And as we speak, I think, I'm pretty sure at another OE who is not in the panel, one of the large OEs is already, is close to having an electrified product in that segment. So interesting times, and in fact, this conversation among us is also it's turning out to be so interesting that I lost track of the time, and we have almost run out of time. But before we end this conversation, I would like to get your views on the projection of the share of commercial vehicles in the overall EV industry. In the overall EV industry. You can take a pick, we can look at it from a domestic perspective or the global perspective. What kind of share would commercial vehicles have in the overall EV industry? Let's say at the period of by 2030, starting with you, Dr. Seshu.
Yep. Typically from 1/10 of number of passenger cars sold is typically the number for trucks. Last year, 93 million passenger cars were sold, plus or minus take away a few million, and you had about 10 million trucks, right? That's a normal new market. And with all that's happening right now, by 2030, the lower segment being naturally more electrified than the upper one, you're looking at a number upwards of 50%.
Okay, that's significant. Suman, your take?
I do not have a ready view on this, but it would follow the distribution of all the products. If you're talking about the whole market, it would be in the line. I think 2-3 wheelers come first, and then comes these LCVs. So minus the very heavy trucks, which probably will not reach price competitiveness in India. So it should follow this way, and then come the passenger cars. So I don't have an exact percentage, but we would see that kind of
similar trend to
distribution. Yeah.
Interesting. Great. Uday, last words from you.
Yeah, we run this show, mate. We run 70% on the 3-wheelers. We run 60% by 2030 on the 2-wheelers. We run all these other boys and girls out of town, and we make electric a most important part. So I think we're going to change all of them. And how are we going to change them? We're going to bring lower price. We're going to bring higher efficiency, and we're going to get bigger range. And we're going to make Suman and all the rest of our partners here a very, very successful business. That's what I look at.
I'm sure independently and collectively, all of you will have really some interesting stories in the electrified commercial vehicle industry. And great to hear about the plans, and ladies and gentlemen, some of the news plans being shared here, the news, you heard it here first. And indeed, I'm sure you also enjoyed the very informative and insightful discussion as much as I did, and also enjoyed conducting this panel discussion. So on behalf of my colleagues at ET Auto, I would like to thank you all for attending this session, and special thanks to all the esteemed panelists, Dr. Seshu Bhagavathula, Suman Mishra, and Uday Narang, for sparing your time and participating in this panel discussion at the 2022 ET Auto EV Conclave. Thank you, goodbye, and take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Suman.
Thank you.
Thank you.